I just wanted to do a review. I said a few days ago that I was going to be rereading the Coming of the Superman story arc, and I have. And I do want to say, like right off the bat, I read them as they were coming out, so there was at least a month in between each issue, which, you know, unless you reread the issue before, you might, lose some facts or whatever, and then the story becomes a little bit more shady, or incoherent, in between. So I figured before I do a review, let me reread it, see if it see if the good still holds up and if the bad kind of goes away or gets worse. So I figured let me reread it. All right. Uh, as you see, it's a six issue story arc, so run 6 issues. The first 3 issues has Neal Adams and I believe it's Alex Sinclair, and then after that, Neal Adams continues the story, but with an artist Avina. I can't remember that person's name, so I'll have to look on that. But essentially, there's multiple storylines going on, and some of them are pretty good. Some of them are kind of pointless to have. First off, the main story arc, which pretty much is done like by like issue 2 or 3, is the is who is Superman. But starts off the whole thing is Kalibak from Apokolips comes in, and you know and starts, a kind of invasion of Earth again. And these three, what looks like Supermen come in to stop them. And everybody's questioning of, well, who are these people? Are they cousins like Supergirl? You know, whatever. And we are kind of given a backstory of where Superman had been because it's kind of, I guess if it was in a film, it might be a flashback, but of course they would introduce the character that creates the flashback first, which they don't do here. What they do is, um, as they're fighting Kalibak and the Parademons from Apocalypse, which, by the way, spoilers. I'm sorry, I didn't say that before. Nothing. I didn't spoil anything just as yet, but what they do is, as Kalibak is trying to invade Earth, the question is where is Superman? So they kind of go flashback into Superman being in, I believe it's Pakistan or Egypt, or they don't. I don't remember them ever actually establishing where he is. But the but it is a Muslim country that they're in, faith, where the Muslim faith is. But it shows him saving a young boy named Rafi from different things going on, and the kid asking if he could stay with Superman because he has a dog that nobody seems to want. So if he doesn't go with him, then the dog will be destroyed. And this mysterious being appears before Superman and tells him that he needs to take the boy because that's where he is. That's where he is needed the most. Um, then it kind of then it flash forwards to the present day, which once again, the Supermen are there trying to protect Metropolis. They're doing a pretty good job, but they're still novice. They're crashing through buildings or whatever. And we see that Clark is actually at the Daily Planet. He has Rafi there with him because he's kind of a new father to his kid, and he decides to go and confront, stop Kalibak, and then eventually they do. The story, then he starts to have questions of, well, who are you? Um, then it kind of goes back to a flashback showing that, or rather not a flashback, but he is sent. He eventually ends up being sent to by the same guy to ancient times when the pyramids, were being built, and it actually turns out Darkseid was the one that built the pyramids, and so he was once a ruler. They looked up to him as a god. Uh, which was an interesting kind of way to cliffhang the story. I did like that. I was like, oh wow, So I'm thinking, okay, the Rafi thing I wasn't too fond of, but I figured, okay, well they'll probably answer a question later on. It is 6 issues, so it's kind of like if it was a movie, it'd probably be like an hour and a half, 2 hour movie basically. But anyway, the second issue, it is about who the Supermen are, which I think really they should have continued to kind of toy with the idea of who the Supermen are and not answer it so quickly. But basically, the Supermen are Kryptonians or Kandorians who once in the bottle of Kandor, that Brainiac had held them in, and when they were freed, they ended up on their own planet that they dubbed New Krypton. What happens is that they actually came to Earth not to help Superman or back him up like they said, but to plead for Superman to come and help them as Darkseid, Kalibak, and Apokolips are now on the other side of New Krypton and trying to invade the New Krypton area of the planet, and they came to play with them because as strong as they are, they're not as strong as Superman. Because they did not have as much time to build their strength as Superman has, because they did not live within the yellow sun as was known as Superman. And you know, while this is going on, Superman of course says, okay, I'll help you. Lois goes with him. Even though he's like, oh, I don't want you to, but she stays away. Lois is kind of just there. She does have a moment to actually be useful, but for the most part, she's just there. Actually, I found myself forgetting that she was even in the story until she pops up. But anyway, what happens then is that Kalibak comes out of nowhere and kidnaps Rafi. So now it's like, well, what happened? Like, why did he take Rafi away? So now the story goes into, okay, well I have to stop Kalibak and them, because now they have this kid I'm supposed to be watching over, instead of just, oh, I'm gonna go protect, I'm gonna go help my fellow Kryptonians, Kandorians, whatever. And that kind of subways. That wasn't I didn't care too much for that cliffhanger. I thought that was kind of weak. But the third issue establishes you know it kind of establishes a connection between Lex Luthor and Darkseid. Lex Luthor is in the first 2 issues. You know, Lois Lane is interviewing him and so, but he becomes more of a prominent figure somewhere in the third issue, where it turns out that he actually sold Darkseid this mote thing that can create put make their sun into a red sun to take away Superman's powers. And that's basically brought up in this issue, in the third issue. But in the story, um, he goes to go save Rafi by threatening Kalibak, even his life. He goes at one point he's like, if you don't answer me, your life is forfeit. Which was like, whoa. Um, but yeah, reread the whole story arc, and issue 3 is still kind of a little blurry. It was definitely like one of the weaker entries in the thing, mainly because I was not a fan of the Rafi storyline. But we kind of see it back and forth. We get more of Darkseid and Luther's kind of back and forth, which it felt like the Odd Couple. Basically where the TV show where you know the Darkseid is more the straight man, the one who wants to get things done, and Lex Luthor is more of the layabout, the one who just wants to kind of clown around. Like it is at one point in the fourth or fifth issue where he actually laughs at Darkseid to the point of Darkseid wanting to kill him. But uh, we kind of get like a back and forth battle. The third and fourth issue is heavily a battle kind of story to it. It was definitely the weaker of the issues, but with the fourth issue, we kind of get back more into the story aspect. Granny Goodness is now holding Rafi hostage. She appears as like this nice old lady, and then suddenly she kind of changes. The story does end on her about to either because they want to control Rafi, because Rafi is very important. We still don't know why, but he's very important, and she's like, well, if you don't if you don't serve us, then we're gonna have fun tearing you apart. And even threatens the door, saying, "Oh, the door is gonna." That's essentially what happens with that issue in terms of the Rafi story. But the fourth issue is the one that spends a lot of time as well with Left Keeper and Darkseid. It's kind of third and fourth issue are definitely the Darkseid and Left Keeper thing. More action, occurs, and then with the fifth issue, uh, it basically starts up the final battle with Darkseid. We do get more information on like what's going on with Rafi. Rafi is finally safe, and Lois demands to go with Superman to help him. Superman doesn't want any of that. Once again, Lois is just kind of there. She does have a moment, as I said before, of being useful, and that's essentially just being like she just I think she was just put in there so there's a moment where Granny Goodness has the upper edge, and then out of nowhere she appears. I don't know. I have a feeling that I was just kind of was like I don't know how to solve this issue because had you know she had the upper hand, and there wasn't much to say that she would not win because they had Superman tied up. But once that happened, you kind of realize she's just kind of there. But anyways, we find out Rafi's importance. He's actually the grandson of the High Father of New Genesis, who wants to also share the planet with New Krypton, um, uh, but are afraid of you know afraid of Apokolips, eventually trying to take over their half again because they do have that treaty, which really he's never really mentioned. You have to have seen either the animated series or read the books to understand this peace treaty between the two. Orion is in the story, and we do only get a mention about the fact that he is Darkseid's true son, but he was raised by High Father, and Kalibak is High Father's true son, but was raised by Darkseid. And the treaty is that they'll never by sharing each other's firstborn, they're able to make this peace treaty of never uh, but they also have to be kind of a certain distance, and it's made clear that if there's like a force field that like similar to what New Krypton has, he would go ahead and allow that would kind of nix the whole we can't be too close together because there's that force field. It's kind of like a barrier to begin with. But since they have that boom tube, Positive has that boom tube technology, it's pretty much pointless because they can still enter even through the barrier, which is how they're able to attack New Krypton. We do find out that Lex Luthor actually sold a mote to Darkseid that was faulty because that would eventually even if the mote made a successful contact with the sun, it would turn the sun red just for a short while, and that wasn't a foolproof like a permanent. Um, it wasn't a permanent reaction because Lex Luthor had this feeling that Darkseid also wanted to attack Earth, and he wanted to make sure that there was some sort of defense to that. Um, it kind of comes out of nowhere. Lex Luthor would be somewhat smart enough to do that, but Darkseid's not that dumb. So, kind of felt weird. I mean, I haven't read a lot of Darkseid censored stories, but from my experience with Darkseid, he's not stupid, but you know, and Lex Luthor's, I mean, he's manipulative, but his whole thing kind of doesn't make much sense either. He wants to take Superman's power away, but you know, he has this plan to trick Darkseid, but I I still don't understand it. Once he tricks Darkseid, what? You know, I mean, he already says that he never meant to have the moat thing work completely. So even by defeating Darkseid, Superman would eventually get his powers back. So it's not like now he can take over the world, and Darkseid's still more powerful than Lex Luthor. With like I said, the fifth issue ends with Darkseid blasting him. Uh, like that blasting into ashes Lex Luthor, because Lex Luthor starts to kind of just laugh his ass off out of nowhere when he finally tells him what's going on, and from one of Darkseid's defeats. The sixth issue definitely feels like they were like, oh snap, we need to finish this up now. That was basically how the sixth issue sounded. The way Superman defeats Darkseid this time was very anticlimactic. I definitely expected better because I do know Neal Adams had this Neal Adams along with Dennis O'Neil were the ones responsible for bringing Batman back to its roots in the 70s before Frank Miller uh, was given the credit. And he also helped to kind of reinvent Green Arrow into the Green Arrow that many people have gotten to know. The Robin, he went from the Robin Hood ripoff to his own, beard and everything. That was Dennis O'Neil. So I guess maybe I expected more, considering his history. Um, I'm not gonna say how the story ends. We do find out more about Rafi. I don't want to spoil that either. We only kind of get a glimpse of that creature talking to Superman. Like we only get like a mention of his name like one time. Metron is in the story as well. He kind of comes in to kind of prove a point. Uh, like I don't know where he comes out of nowhere just to prove a point. Then he says, "Oh, I just like to look, just like okay." Uh, and this is after I had just finished reading DC Universe Rebirth, where he's also kind of featured. So I had basically just learned of the character Metron because I don't remember him too well, and kind of, he's supposed to be an all-seeing type of watcher type person, but I don't know. But anyways, in terms of the story, as I said, I was able to binge read it this time, so I understood it a little bit more. It's not as bad as I first thought it was. It's not worse. Lois didn't need to be there. Rafi's situation didn't need to be there. His little dog, the twist on that was just, it made no sense. I mean, well, kind of made sense, but it was still stupid. Uh, Metron being there was, I think that was just filler. That was just, hey, let's add a few more panels in here and raise the stakes a little bit. He basically was no threat. Lex Luthor and Darkseid's kind of back and forth, much better handled in the animated series. Um, I still have to read the Darkseid War arc. I know that Lex Luthor and Darkseid are in there, but on opposite ends. As I've been reading, Action Comics, I do know that Lex Luthor comes back with the Superman type of powers because he was on Darkseid and gets a mother box or whatever. That's all I really know from that story so far. But yeah, they like I said, it just felt like an odd couple. It definitely felt like a Silver Age story, and I was never huge into Silver Age when I was a kid. Growing up in the '80s, and I would come across a Silver Age type of story, I was just before. Maybe it's also because I was, I like to read stories from beginning to end. I don't like to read in the middle, but the artwork, uh, the artwork for me is a mixed bag. There are some good moments. There are some good like artwork in there. Because I know Neon also does the artwork, but the way he draws Superman, it just felt, I don't know, it was just ugly. Just looked ugly to me. The colors were also really, really dark. Um, like, when he would use blue, it would be dark blue, on top of dark red, on top of the face having like this kind of blackish type of tint to it with the skin, and it just felt like too much for me. I'm not an art critic, but I do know that I there's certain art that I like, and just didn't do a really good job on this one. I know that there's some other, colorist or whatever, but he, did the story and the main art of it. Like for example, this, it's not very good. Let me see if I can find. Now, this is nice. I don't mind this. This artwork is pretty good. As I said, of course, I know that the covers are sometimes done by someone different. So, mm, dude, this I enjoyed. I enjoyed artwork like this. You know, see what I can find. Oh, this is an example of what I mean by terrible artwork. I did not like that whatsoever. I didn't care for the way Superman looks in some of these images. This is the creature I was talking about that kind of speaks to Superman throughout the story. Kind of like almost like a gargoyle, or maybe I don't know. Maybe he was kind of supposed to be Martian Manhunter. The other thing I do want to say is the story ends on cliffhanger. And as far as I know, this was a limited run. So a limited run usually means the story is ended. And while this story is ended by the end of it, it adds a bit of a like a mystery at the end. I don't know if this is supposed to be a Silver Age story that that stop that goes in with the Silver Age. So if you read the Silver Age, you'll know exactly what happens later on. But yeah, this is the last panel of the last issue, so you can kind of skip over this if you don't want to see it. Just go maybe about 2 minutes later, you know. But yeah, this is basically it. You see a little Suicide Squad there, but and it doesn't even end on at the end. It ends on an up and away. So I don't know if that's a clue into them doing another story. I doubt very much we're gonna see that other story, because this story has been ridiculed quite a bit. Not a lot of people have been liking it. So I doubt very much we're gonna see any resolution to that little mystery, unless, as I said, it's part of the Silver Age and they do actually go back to that during the Silver Age. But I know I've done a lot of rambling in this video, but I just want to get my clear thoughts, well, my right off the top of my head thoughts about what I've read, how I liked it. Um, I did as much as I could with kind of going through each issue. As I said, 3 and 4 are mostly just battle stuff. 5 goes a little more into the story. answers some questions, and then 6 answers the rest of them in kind of a hurried fashion. I would say that first the first issue is probably the best. The fourth issue is not too bad because for the action, but it's just there's not a lot of story in there. We do see that Barda and I believe his name is Scott Free are working with the new Kryptonian, the members of New Krypton and New Genesis to protect, uh, you know, protect Lois and Rafi, um, and Orion arrives helping Superman out. We do get a moment of Superman, having issues and needing assistance. But if I had to rate this on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd probably go with either a 5 or a 6 as a whole. Each individual one would probably be lower, with maybe the first issue being like a 7, and then the worst issue, and then most of them being like a 3 or 4. But if I had to go with the whole story, I'd probably do like a 6, 5 or 6. So yeah, that's this is what I'm going to try to do from now on. I'm going to try and uh, I'm going to read each issue of a story arc, and then when the story arc's done, then I will go ahead and reread the arc. So this way, so if this works out, I have to see like Batman's about to finish up or has finished up. I just have to get the last few issues. Superman, Action Comics, Detective Comics, Nightwing, Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, Green Lanterns, Wonder Woman, the Flash, Titans, Teen Titans when that starts up. So I'm going to do my best to do each one. I might do the DC Universe Rebirth one soon, just to kind of get that, or I may wait until that arc that started with that issue is finished and try to read each of the issues that kind of go with, like, I believe it's DC Universe Rebirth, The Flash, Titans, and then it goes on in other issues or whatever. Or I might just read all the Rebirth issues that I have as consider that like a story arc. But anyways, if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, comment. Definitely comment, because I really do want to get your opinions, respectable opinions. I'm sure I won't get all respectable opinions, but generally, I would love some constructive criticism. I might start jotting down what I'm gonna say and then kind of going off of that to make it a little bit more organized. You know, um, but yeah, just let me know what you think.